Hey folks, Mark at Titus. I'm here today in the shop all by myself. I'm getting ready to, so it's nice and peaceful. It's kind of weird actually because it's really quiet in here, and I'm used to having music playing in the shop and things going on and lots of noise going around, but it's just kind of like really quiet in here today. So this is kind of odd for me as well. But what I'm going to do today is do a video on assembling one of our Titus engines. Now this one is this is a standard 9.2 deck. This is going to be a 427, so it'll be a 4-inch stroke, 125 bore. And pretty much what we're going to do is go through assembling one of these engines. The things that I go through and do and just how I do things. Not saying they're right or wrong, this is just how I do it. Some of the things I look for, some of the things I check. Some of the things you may have to look at and adjust as you're going along. But just to give you an idea of what it looks like when we assemble one of these things from scratch. So where we're at right now is the block has been machined, it's been bored, it's been honed. I have done the clearancing inside of the block that I'm going to do, which basically I notched the bottoms of the cylinders for the rod bolts for when the crank swings, because our sleeve liners, the steel part of the sleeve, does stick out of the aluminum block at the bottom. So there needs to be a small notch cut in those so that when the rotating assembly spins, that the rod bolt doesn't come in contact with that. Past that, I have also put the cam bearings in it and sized up the cam bearings. And pretty much they go in just like a standard cam bearing, even though you can see these are the bronze cam bearings that we do with our block. The only thing that I do is after I put the cam bearings in, I put the cam in, I make sure that everything turns freely, everything is good, that no burrs got put on the front of the cam bearings or anything like that with the cam bearing tool when we install them. If it does, pretty much what I do is I use a extendable bit, and I use a 2.5-inch diameter flat wheel. And I take that, I stick it in there and just hit it about 1 or 2 times with a cordless drill and let it spin over, and it'll take off any kind of a burr or anything that is on the front of these cam bearings if you did happen to mar them when you put them in. And that makes the cam slide in and out nicely. I have so far put the bearings in. Right now the caps are torqued. We're going to basically just go through checking the main bearing clearance. Of course, you know, everybody has their own ideas of where main bearing clearances should be and that sort of thing. So this is not really to tell you how to clearance your engine or what kind of clearances you should run, just show you how we check it. Some of the checks that we'll do as we start to put together things so that you know, you don't run down at the end of it and be disgruntled on some of the things. So some of the things that we do just from putting a lot of these things together, and some of the things we do check for, is I'll start out, since we've already got the caps and everything on it, what we'll do is start out first with the camshaft. Now this is a 351 Cleveland. It's a hydraulic roller. It is 8620 core. You can see actually it's a dual dowel pin core, but we only really need for a hydraulic roller, we only need the 1 pin. You know, we all know that Ford's shear pins and things like that, we use a hardened pin in ours, but mainly it's the washer and the torque that you put on the front of this, not the pin, that actually is what it causes it to shear. But one of the things that we'll check, and I'm putting this guy in very carefully, I don't have any lube or anything on the bearings yet because we're going to take this right back out as soon as we check. I just want to check, show you one of the things that we do check. Wiggle this guy in. And pretty much what I'm doing is I'm guiding the front end with one hand and the back end with the other hand. So I have my finger in the end of the cam where they put the centering hole from when they machine it. So the cam goes in nicely, that's good. But one of the things that we do want to check is at the very beginning, before you assemble anything, because you don't want to find this out after you have the whole engine assembled, you put it in the car and you're ready to do. So we always make sure the distributor goes in, everything turns with the cam gear, everything aligns. So there we see that goes in. Now, when I had first started mocking this up and I first put the cam bearings in, I put the distributor in, it went in great. Problem was, I couldn't turn the cam. Well, the reason was, and this happens often, and this is, you can see this on one of the other videos that we did about our thrust plates, when you put roller cam bearings in an engine, because the roller cam bearing is wider than a standard 351 Cleveland cam bearing. Also, our bronze bearings are wider to give us more surface area on the cam so that you have a better surface for the oil. So what was the issue with why this didn't turn to begin with was just that, is this front cam bearing, if I'm looking straight down through the distributor hole, the front cam bearing, the back of the cam bearing was intersecting a little tiny bit with the hole where the distributor goes down. So what was happening was the edge of the bearing was actually tapping one of the teeth, or in between the actual grooves of the teeth. So as the distributor went down, the distributor goes in fine, but it wouldn't turn because it was actually tapping the back of the cam bearing. So in order to fix that, really what I do is I go in, I take a long burr like you would use to port a cylinder head with, and I just relieve the back of that cam bearing a little bit where it hangs over into the distributor space a bit. Relieve that a little bit, and again, I take because it will leave probably a little burr on the back side of the bearing, as I go in and I just clearance the back of that bearing, and then I take a little polishing wheel and just polish the side of that bearing so that it goes in. So again, we see that here, everything looks good. We put the distributor in, and this is even dry with no lube or anything like that on it. Distributor goes all the way in. The other good thing about doing it this way is you can check when you put a distributor gear on a Ford, this measurement from here to here is pretty critical. So the thing that you can check is, and our block has a bronze bushing in the bottom of it that goes around the bottom of the distributor shaft so that the distributor is not wearing in aluminum, it actually is wearing in bronze. And it has a flange on the top of it. So what you want to make sure